On June 26, 1977, in Dallas, Texas, what should have been one of the happiest days in a young couple's life ended in unimaginable horror. That morning, stood in a small Mexican Baptist church in Dallas and was baptized. Beside him was a woman he loved. Elvira was known by many in the church. She played piano during services and had a gentle personality that people remember for years. Friends describe her as someone who loved music, loved children, and loved helping others. She and Mario had fallen deeply in love. Not long before that day, the couple had become engaged. June 26 should have been a celebration, the beginning of their life together. But by the end of that same day, both of them would be dead. The encounter. Later that afternoon, the couple sat together in their car. It was a quiet moment after the church service. The day had already been filled with joy and hope. Then two men approached the vehicle. Their names were and both men had one intention: robbery. Evans and Smith climbed into the couple's car at gunpoint and forced them to drive away from the city to a remote area in South Dallas. The terrified couple had no choice but to obey. The remote field. Once they reached the isolated area, Evans and Smith ordered the couple out of the vehicle. Moments later, the violence began. Mario Garza was shot 5 times. The gunshots echoed across the empty field as he collapsed and died. Elvira Guerrero was also shot twice. Miraculously, she survived the initial gunshots. But what happened next would make the crime even more horrifying. A moment of forgiveness. Despite witnessing the murder of the man she loved, Elvira did something completely unexpected. Instead of screaming or begging, she reached out and held Evans' arm. Then she began to pray. She prayed for God to forgive both Evans and Smith. But the act of forgiveness angered Evans. Enraged, he responded with brutal cruelty. He slashed Elvira's face and gouged out her eyes. Her injuries were catastrophic. Not long afterward, she died from the wounds. The aftermath: Evans and Smith left the bodies in a hay field in South Dallas. For the brutal murders of 2 innocent people, the killers gained almost nothing. They stole $52, a watch, and the couple's car, the break in the case. Weeks passed. Then something unexpected happened. A relative of Elvira Guerrero suddenly spotted the stolen car. Recognizing it immediately, the relative began following the vehicle while flagging down a police officer. That decision would break the entire case open. The vehicle eventually led police to the apartment of Michael Wayne Evans. When officers arrived, Evans briefly escaped by climbing out a window after entering the apartment. But he didn't get far. Police captured him shortly afterward. The evidence. Inside Evans' apartment, investigators discovered the gun used to murder Guerrero and Garza. But the physical evidence wasn't the only thing that tied him to the crime. Evans had already confessed the murders to people close to him. When he returned home on the night of the killings, his roommate noticed blood on him. Evans admitted he had committed a double murder. He also told his girlfriend that he had killed some Mexicans. To make matters worse, he even gave her a watch, telling her it belonged to the Mexican lady that he killed. Once police arrested him, Evans confessed again and identified Earl Smith as his accomplice. The trials. In September 1978, Michael Wayne Evans was convicted of the murders and sentenced to death. His accomplice, Earl Smith, received a life sentence. But the legal battle was not over. In 1980, Evans' conviction was overturned due to incorrect jury selection. A new trial followed. In 1981, Evans was once again convicted and again sentenced to death. The execution. Nearly a decade after the murders, the final chapter arrived. On December 4th, 1986, Michael Wayne Evans was executed by lethal injection in Texas. The man responsible for one of the most brutal crimes in Dallas history was finally put to death. Remembering the victims. While the killer's name appears in crime records, many people remember this case for a different reason. They remember Elvira Guerrero. Even after being shot and watching the man she loved die, her final act was to pray for the men who had just destroyed her life. A moment of forgiveness in the face of unimaginable cruelty. And a reminder that sometimes the most powerful part of a story is not the violence, but the humanity shown in the darkest moments.